Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, we welcome you all to the Essence of Bhagavad Gita course being conducted by Academy of Vedic Sciences. Today our speaker is Mohan Das. He is practicing Bhakti Yoga for past 20 years. He has got a lot of experience in teaching, particularly for youth and children. He is known to take up challenging questions and able to explain them with a very good scientific basis. So we welcome Mohan Das, and today's chapter is a very interesting chapter called Opulence of the Absolute. So over to you, Mohan Das. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you all and welcome everybody. Yeah, so just as we proceed, quick note on the classroom guidelines. I hope everybody is aware. Yeah, please register with your registered names. We've still been seeing some numbers and phone brands onto your message screen. Yeah, generic messages. Don't just, if you have a specific question, just allow that specific question into the chat window. Don't put on generic greeting messages and all that. Yeah, and of course we would love to see you. So hopefully you can keep your videos on, but of course that is not compulsory. It is totally upon you. These are our communication channels. You are already aware of all of these particular aspects. Visit our website pit.do/essence-of-Gita and you'll get all the details there. So we are discussing chapter 10 today, after a fantastic marathon of the last 9 days or 9 chapters rather. Yeah, and let's start off with a small prayer to our spiritual master. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Okay, so yesterday we stopped 9th chapter, which finished with that shloka, Man Manabhava Madbhakto, Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Yeah, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you have to fix your mind onto Krishna. Yeah, and obviously to explain how to fix the mind upon the Lord is now going to describe his various opulences, various qualities, because that is how you always think of a person. Whenever you think of a person, you think of him as some qualities that he or she has. Yeah. So Krishna is also going to give certain qualities so that it is easier for Arjuna and of course for us to think of Krishna in that particular manner. So like as always, this chapter is also divided into 3 sections, and each of these sections have an acronym, which we will see in a minute. But yeah, so the acronym interestingly is C, yeah, SEE. And in the beginning, the S acronym is for us to understand that source of everything is Lord Krishna. Everything emanates from the Lord. And that is what Krishna describes in this particular section. Yeah, the next section is called the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, and interestingly, it is also called as the essence of Gita or the 4 shloka Bhagavad Gita. It is equivalent to reciting the entire 700 chapters if you just recite these 4 shlokas. Yeah, So in the essence of Gita, we are looking at essence of Gita shlokas, yeah, today. And the last E is where all you can see Krishna's opulences. Yeah. So everywhere you see, you can see Krishna's opulences. That is what the Lord establishes. Yeah. So it is very, very easy. The Lord is making it very easy for us to think of him 24 hours of the day. Everywhere you see, you should be able to see and think of the Lord. Yeah. You drink water, like that day we saw in the 7th chapter, Krishna says he's the taste of water. So as soon as whenever you're drinking water, yeah, you should be able to see, oh, this is Krishna. Yeah, and like that, Krishna now describes his further opulences. So let's begin on to the first section, yeah, which is to establish that the source of everything is the Lord. Yeah, and the first, so we will see in details. Yeah, but these are very high level summaries of each of these aspects of the Lord. Yeah, that in the first 3 shlokas, we will see that how we know Krishna. If we know Krishna, we will be undiluted and we will be free from sin. Yeah. Then we will see what qualities Krishna has created for us to understand Krishna. Yeah. So Krishna creates the qualities for us to understand him, that itself. Yeah. And 7th shloka, we will see various people who have engaged in Krishna's service and what have they gained. So in the first shloka, yeah, Krishna is telling Arjuna to hear. He says, Bhuya. Yeah, in that particular shloka, he says. Yeah, and what is that? He says, please hear carefully. Yeah. So hearing is a very, very important qualification. And we've seen this in the 9 steps of the devotional service steps, which begins with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. It begins with Shravanam. Shravanam means to hear. So this eagerness to hear is a very, very important qualification. And Krishna is also telling us, please hear. And why is he telling Arjuna? We've seen this in the earlier chapters also, because Arjuna is a dear friend. Yeah. So if we also become dear friends of Krishna and we are eager to hear, we also gain these qualifications to understand Krishna perfectly. Yeah. That is what is the important part. Yeah. And we've been calling Krishna as Bhagwan. Yeah. So Bhagwan, the definition given in the Vishnu Puran, yeah, is that Aishwarasya Samagrasya Virasya Yashasa Shriyah Jnana Vairagyaschaiva Shannam Bhaga Iti Gana. Yeah. So this definition is given a Parashar Muni. And what does he say? Bhagwan, or the Lord, Bhagwan Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is one who has 6 opulences in full. So this in full part is very critical. And what are the 6 opulences? He has strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty. All strength, all fame, all wealth, all knowledge, all beauty. And along with that, he has all renunciation also, which means that even though he has all of these 6 opulences, he's still not attached to any of these opulences. Yeah. So that is the eagerness we have to hear from the Lord. Yeah. Because he is Bhagwan. Yeah? And what are the key benefits of hearing? Hearing is, it helps us getting fixed in devotional service. And once you're fixed in devotional service, it is hearing itself, yeah, which helps us to enhance our devotional service. So therefore, hearing is a very, very important quality that we all should develop. And that is what the Lord is also telling here. Yeah. He tells us that nobody knows about him. Yeah. All the demigods, all the sages, they don't know Krishna in all respects. And therefore, it is very important for us to hear from Krishna himself. Yeah. So many demigods, many great sages, they do not understand Lord Krishna. And we've seen various leelas of Krishna when we get to start discussing Bhagavatam. We will see how Lord Brahma, he also gets confused as to who Krishna is. Yeah. And what to then speak of all the scholars here in this planet. Yeah? What they cannot understand, similar to Brahma, they cannot understand that why has the Lord come here in this material world? And why is he doing all these uncommon activities? Who best to hear from? Best to hear from the Lord himself. And this is what that chapter is. Yeah. So the Lord is here now telling us about himself, about his qualities, about his opulences, because nobody else knows him in full. And it is therefore very, very simple and straightforward to listen from the Lord himself and get convinced about this particular aspect of how great the Lord is. So what is the result? What is the benefit? Yeah, of understanding or hearing Krishna properly? The benefit is that we get freedom from all sins. That is what he says in the third shloka here. He says, he who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all worlds, he only, undeluded among men, is freed from all sins. Yeah. So we have to understand what is Krishna calling himself. He's calling himself that he is unborn, Aja. Yeah. So the Lord is Aja, unborn. That is what the description is. Yeah. So we've seen this in the previous example and the previous chapters, how the Lord is compared to the rising and setting sun. Yeah. So when the sun goes down in the west, we don't call the sun has died. Yeah. We said the sun has disappeared. Or when he appears in the next day, we said the sun has appeared. Yeah. We don't say sun is born. So similarly, Krishna appears and Krishna disappears. Yeah. So we have to understand that the Lord is Aja. He is not born. Yeah. He is unborn. And he is the supreme Lord of all planetary systems. In this shloka, he says, Vetti Loka Maheshwaram. Maheshwaram. He is the Maha Ishvara of all the lokas, Vetti Loka. Yeah. And only through devotional service, we can understand these particular aspects. Yeah. And one important check that the Lord also tells us in the 9th chapter we saw yesterday, that many people think that the Lord, he is born and he's like a human being. Yeah. So that is a proposition of fools. Yeah, we should not try to understand or perceive Krishna as a human being. That is a fool's errand. Yeah, and therefore, once we understand this aspect of the Lord, we can understand what real auspicious activities are, what are transcendental activities of the Lord, and that is what we will see further. Yeah. So next, in this particular shloka, just give me a minute. Yeah, Krishna now tells what are the different qualities which are required to understand Krishna, and where are these qualities coming from. Yeah, interestingly, these qualities, 16 of them, they also come from Krishna. Yeah, Krishna is the source of all these qualities through which we can understand Krishna. Yeah, and why does Krishna manifest these? Where does he manifest? He manifests this all over the universe. Everywhere you will see these qualities. Yeah, and what is the key purpose? The purpose is to use these qualities and to understand Krishna himself. Yeah. So let's see what those qualities are which Krishna enables us. For using those qualities, we will be able to understand Krishna. Yeah. So he talks about 16. Let's see each of this. Yeah. He talks about intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. Yeah. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. That is what he says in this text 4 and 5. Yeah. So intelligence, he creates intelligence too, so that we can analyze what are the right perspectives to look at things. Yeah. So the power to analyze things in that proper perspective is what he gives us. Through knowledge, yeah, he creates knowledge to understand distinction between matter and spirit. What is matter? What is spirit? What is material? What is spiritual? Yeah, and you will see that most of the academicians, most of the scientists, they only talk about matter. They only talk about 10 aspects of the 24 aspects of the entire material universe. All that can be seen and all that can be heard. Yeah, all that can be perceived by the material senses is only that is the scope of the materialist. But there are other qualities, other knowledge aspects which are not there, which the Lord describes here. Yeah. Then he talks about freedom from doubt and delusion, asamoha. Yeah. And this can be understand. This could be this we could really come to know only when we understand the true nature of the Lord. Yeah. Tolerance and forgiveness, shama. He talks about shama, about how we can use this particular quality of shama so that we can be equanimous. We can be equal to insults and be equal to praises. Yeah. So that's what this particular tolerance and forgiveness quality gives us. Truthfulness, to talk the truth as it is, and not distort the truth for personal interest. Then he talks about control of the senses, dhamma. Yeah. So not to be used for own sense enjoyment, but for Krishna's senses enjoyment. Yeah. For doing all activities for the Lord. That is what the control of the senses is, what he gives us as a quality. Control of the mind. Yeah. Sama. Yeah. So unnecessary thoughts keep coming into the mind. The mind is, it's like the reins of the horses. So if you imagine a horse cart with 5 horses, the 5 horses are the senses, the reins are the mind, and the person who is holding the reins is the intelligence, and the passenger is the soul. Yeah, and the body is the working senses, or the body of the chariot is like the working senses. So of that, it is the mind which controls the senses. So control of the mind is what one quality that the Lord teaches us, and what he tells us about. Happiness and distress. Yeah, always considering everything in relation to, or not in relation to Krishna. So if it's not in relationship to Krishna, it should be distress. If it is in relation to Krishna, it's happiness. Yeah, that's what he talks about in the first eight, and the next 8 he talks about birth and death. Yeah, he talks about very clearly the aspect that the soul is unborn. Yeah, or the soul does not take birth and death. It is the body which dies. Yeah, but the soul lives on. So he talks about birth. Yeah, he talks about fearlessness. Yeah, only when we have full faith on the Lord, that is, the Lord is only going to help me, that is when we get fearlessness. So that is the aspect he talks about. Non-violence, not to put anybody else in any kind of misery, always to help people. Yeah, help people to get them to know what their real nature is. That is the real help. Yeah, so explaining Krishna consciousness, or explaining about Krishna, explaining about Bhagavad Gita, is what real non-violence is about. Yeah, samata, equanimity. Yeah, so not to be attached to the many things in the material world. Yeah, and accept everything as it comes. Yeah, that is what is the quality that the Lord talks about. Yeah, satisfaction. So just to be content with what we have, and not unnecessarily trying to be greedy with material things. Yeah, so you can be greedy for the Lord. Yeah, you can be greedy for the Lord's association, greedy for the Lord's kirtan, so many of these other things. But greedy for material things is what is not considered great for our progression in Krishna consciousness. Austerity and penance. So taking austerity, we do Ekadashi. Yeah. So one of the biggest Ekadashis, what do, we fast. We fast for the Lord's pleasure. So voluntarily accepting hardships for a higher purpose. Yeah. And many other regular things. Yeah. Like waking up early, taking a bath early in the morning. Yeah. All of these are various hardships that many devotees accept on their own. Then charity. Yeah, giving some income of your money. Charity is recommended in all religions. So you have the concept of zakat. In Islam, then there is definitely a charity in Christianity. So every religion talks about this great quality of charity. Yeah. So even in Krishna consciousness, even here the Lord talks about charity. Yeah. And finally, fame. Yeah. Fame is when you have a very fantastic devotee of the Lord. That is when, yeah, that particular person becomes famous. Otherwise, it's infamy. Yeah. So these are the qualities that the Lord says he is created for us to understand who really is. Yeah. And then he progresses further. Yeah. In the 6th verse, he talks about how he is the prapitamaha. Yeah. Prapitamaha means he is the father of the grandfather. Who's our grandfather? So Brahma is called as the grandfather. Yeah. And he is the father of he is the one who is creator of Brahma. Yeah. And through Brahma also he has created these 25 patriarchs, or the living entities who have created all of these, all of the living entities. Yeah. The 4 Kumaras, the 7 sages, the 14 Manus. Yeah, is what the Lord has created. Yeah. And he says that of the 7 sages, and before them 4 other great sages, and the Manus come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. Yeah. So how Krishna is the origin of everything, and we will see this in a minute as to how Krishna is there as the creator when we see the overall architecture of the material and spiritual worlds. Yeah. And this is where he comes that one who is really convinced about this particular aspect. Yeah. One who is factually convinced about this particular power or this particular aspect of the Lord, only he can engage in unalloyed devotional service. Yeah. So why we have to understand Krishna as to who Krishna is? Yeah. Because it leads us to surrender. It leads us to understand who Krishna is. He is the highest summit of spiritual perfection. That's why it's called, that's why Srila Prabhupada, interestingly, he named this particular Bhagwan when he says the supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah. Means the beginning of the beginning is what Lord Krishna is. And appreciating this really helps us surrender. Yeah. So knowing God is great is good, but how God is so great? Yeah. How much fantastic? What is his real position? Yeah. Only when we come to know of that, then our firm faith is like, fixed. And that really helps us to further surrender. Yeah. So therefore it is recommended not to neglect this understanding of the Lord. Yeah. That's what he says in this first section of the 10th chapter. Yeah. So before we go to the next aspect or the next sloka, I'm going to take a small detour. Yeah. I want to just expand on this picture which is here and show you a slightly much more better understanding of the same picture that is there in our scriptures, that comes from our scriptures. Yeah. So what you will see is just is like an conceptual architecture of the entire spiritual and the material universe. Yeah. And you must have heard earlier from earlier speakers that there is a spiritual world and there is a material world. Yeah. And I'm going to focus a bit on the material world. Yeah, and we've seen yesterday, Harinam Prabhuji, he was talking about the three Vishnus, the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and the Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So here in the material world, yeah, is considered to be like an ocean. Yeah, and in this causal ocean, this Mahavishnu, yeah, he is lying here, Karanodakshaya Mahavishnu. Yeah, and through his bodies, universes are coming out. Yeah, there are millions and millions of universes are coming out and again going back in, going out and going back in. So like this, if you look at one particular universe, one of our universes, you will see that this universe also has another Vishnu. He's called the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, from whom Brahma, our grandfather, yeah, he emanates. He's the one who then creates all the living entities in this particular universe. Yeah. Now, once the living entities are created, each of the living entity has a Vishnu inside all of them. Yeah. So in my heart, in your heart, Lord Krishna is present there as Paramatma. He is there as a four-handed Vishnu form. Yeah. And that is the third Vishnu, or the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Yeah. Now, where do all of these universes come from? Where does this universe, where do all of these Mahavishnu, where does these Vishnus come from? Yeah. So it is explained in our Shastras that this Mahavishnu comes from originally an expansion of the Lord Krishna. Yeah. So here is a representation of the spiritual world. Yeah. And in the spiritual world, Lord Krishna is there sitting in his Goloka Vrindavan, that's his home. And he expands into four different further incarnations. Yeah. The different incarnations, Pradyumna, Sankarshana, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. And the further incarnations, these expansions then expand into this particular Vishnu. So if you see, Krishna is actually beyond all of this. Yeah. And that is what he now talks about in the next 4 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. And this particular understanding, if you have, yeah, the next 4 shlokas are quite easy, and it is much more easier to appreciate this particular aspect. Yeah. So if you look at the next 4 shlokas, yeah, let's go to the next 4 shlokas, which are called the Chatushloki. Yeah, and it is a essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. Chanting these 4 shlokas every day is equivalent to chanting all 700 shlokas. So that's the beauty about these 4 shlokas. So we're going to chant these shlokas together. Yeah. So follow me if you can. It goes like this. 10.8 Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha macchitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te tesham evanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayamyatma bhavastho jnana deepena bhasvata. Yeah, 4 shlokas. That's it. My quota of 700 shlokas is done. So that's the beauty of these 4 shlokas. Yeah. So let's look at what each one of them says. Yeah. So let's go to the 8th one. Yeah. 8th one is where Krishna says that he is the origin of all the spiritual and material worlds. And we saw that particular aspect in the picture that I showed you of the material and spiritual worlds. How from Krishna's expansions, all of these different universes are created. Yeah. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Matta sarvam pravartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. That is what he is stating here in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So if you look at little more aspects, this is how we have to understand about who Krishna really is. Yeah. And once we know this, our devotion becomes much more stronger. Our surrender becomes much more purer. Yeah. And that is what the effect of knowing of this particular knowledge is, and really to understand what does Krishna mean when he says Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Yeah. So somebody might say, oh, this is only Bhagavad Gita. No, this is explained in various other references in the Vedas and in the Upanishads. Yeah. So like the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, he talks about Krishna's how he gave knowledge to Brahma. Then there is a Narayana Upanishad, there is the Maha Upanishad, there is the Moksha Dharma, there is Varaha Purana. Various shlokas, various references, various people, various entities talk about how Krishna is the origin. So it's not only Krishna talking here. Yeah. So one important thing to consider, many people when they read all of this 10th chapter, they think, oh, Krishna is just boasting like this. Yeah. He's just boasting. But if you look at a simple example, for example, everybody knows who Sachin Tendulkar is. Yeah. So when Sachin Tendulkar humbly comes and says, oh, I'm the best batsman in the world. Yeah. Will anybody say he's boasting? Nobody will say he's boasting. Yeah. Because we all know, yes, he is the best batsman. Oh, he's the greatest batsman. Yeah. So when Sachin Tendulkar comes in and says, I am the best batsman in the world, nobody can, because he's stating a fact there. He's not boasting. He's stating a fact. Yeah. But people who do not know Sachin Tendulkar, they will think, hey, who is this small 5 feet guy? Yeah. So they will think, oh, he's just boasting. How can he be the best batsman in the world? Yeah. But all those who know Sachin Tendulkar know, when Sachin Tendulkar says he's the best batsman, yes, he's the best batsman. Yeah. So that's how it is. When the Lord is talking about all of these, he is talking about himself in a very, very renunciate kind of a way. We saw one of the 6 opulences Krishna had. He had all renunciation. So when Krishna is coming and talking about all of this, he's talking of it as a fact. He's not talking of it as he is boasting or anything. Yeah. So this is how we have to understand. Many people do not understand this concept. Yeah. And then they write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So those are the commentaries that we definitely have to avoid. Yeah. So because they think Krishna is ordinary, they do not know who real Krishna is. Yeah. So those so when you read a commentary which talks about how great Krishna is and what he has done, that is a commentary that is authorized and it needs to be referenced. Not others commentaries where they think Krishna is just a person. Yeah. So that is what this particular aspect is. Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate. Yeah. And then he goes to the 9th shloka, which talks about Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Yeah. But before that, Krishna also talks about the second half of this 8th shloka, is that there are wise who perfectly know this and engage in my devotional service with all their hearts. So that is the wise people that we're talking about, not the unwise people who think Krishna is a human being. Yeah. So what about Krishna then goes ahead that what about those devotees who know this particular thing? What happens to those? What are their symptoms? Yeah. So their symptoms is that they are always referencing about Krishna. They're always talking about Krishna. They're always discussing Lord Krishna. That is what they are saying. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam. Parasparam means with each other. What are they talking? Kathayantascha mam nityam. They're talking about Krishna. They're talking about me. Yeah, me as in Krishna. tushyanticha ramanticha, and they get very, very happy discussing and discussing and constantly discussing about Krishna. Yeah. So that is what Krishna talks about as to people who understand this aspect of Krishna, what happens to them. This is the kind of state that they go into. This is the symptom that they get. Yeah, that they're always thinking about Krishna, and that is the trick. Yeah, the trick is when you're doing every activity for Krishna, yeah, automatically all your karmas get destroyed. We've seen in the 4th chapter discussion that fire of knowledge. Yeah, so this fire of knowledge, when you understand this aspect about Krishna, when you know this aspect, that fire of knowledge destroys all your karma, and that is the trick that we have to really understand if you want to get liberation. If you don't want to take birth again, this is the aspect that you have to understand. This is how we have to start getting these symptoms. You have to start emulating these symptoms. Yeah, and many people will think, okay, so now I have understood of Krishna in the preliminary stage. I have now Krishna was very great, but what happens next? Even in the mature stage, Lord Krishna describes that they just keep on discussing. Yeah, so the hearing about Krishna is there in both stages, in the preliminary stage also and in the mature stage also. Yeah, so it's not that thinking that, oh, now that I've heard about Krishna, that's more than enough. No, nothing. So it's not like that. Even in the mature stage, even if you've progressed further in your devotion, hearing and talking about Krishna is still relishable and it is still enjoyable. Yeah. Now, who gets this particular aspect? Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada beautifully describes this concept of the Bhakti Lata Bij. Yeah. So when we read the purports in this particular shloka, Srila Prabhupada talks about that this rare seed of bhakti towards Krishna is like a very fortunate person gets it. Yeah. And what happens when he gets it? He should start watering the seed. How is the watering of the seed? The watering the seed is through hearing and chanting. Yeah. So you keep watering. Every day you have to, just like if you have a plant at home, every day you have to water it. Every day you have to give it sunlight. Yeah. So that is the hearing and chanting that we also have to do, so that the seed in our heart, the slight devotional service that we have got, that should start to nourish and grow. Yeah. And how have we got this particular seed? It is only through other devotees. Yeah. So therefore, associating with devotees, associating with people who are in knowledge about Bhagavad Gita is very important for all of us. Yeah, because they can implant the seed in our heart. Yeah, and once the seed fructifies, it can penetrate the material universe. Yeah, that is what this power of this particular Bhakti Lata is. Yeah, and it grows, and so we show the differentiation between the spiritual and the material world. The borderline is called the Brahma Jyoti. Even this particular seed, this particular Bhakti Lata, it pierces this Brahma Jyoti and it goes directly towards Lord Krishna. Yeah. So this Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of devotional service, is a very, very important aspect to understand and to nourish. Yeah. That's what Srila Prabhupada tells us in this particular 9th chapter. Going ahead. Yeah. So in the 10th verse of the 10th chapter, Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. What does the Lord do as reciprocation? Yeah. So, okay, the devotee is always talking about Krishna. The Lord is not sitting idly there. Oh, he's okay, let him do whatever he wants. No, he reciprocates. That is what the Lord does. And what does he say? To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Yeah. So Krishna gives the understanding of how to come to Krishna. Yeah. And we've seen the different stages of the yoga. We'll see it in a minute. Yeah. We saw Buddhi Yoga, we saw Karma Yoga, we saw Jnana Yoga till now. And of course, this particular section is about Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, which is what Krishna is telling us. How to come to him. Lord gives us the intelligence. Yeah. And this intelligence is that I have to do every activity for the Lord's pleasure. Yeah. And if you do activities with this particular perspective in mind, automatically you are going to get liberated. You will not get this cycle. You will not get entangled in the cycle of birth and death. And how does this happen? This happens because that's what Krishna says. Yeah, he says that I destroy the impediments. I destroy all the ignorance in the heart of the devotee. Yeah, one who is doing this, he says, Tesham evanu kampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavastho jnana deepena bhasvata. He says, just like if there's a dark room, in the dark room, if you want to dispel darkness, you can't push darkness away. You can't, there's nothing to push darkness. What you have to do, you have to let the light in. Yeah. So as soon as you open the window and sunlight comes in, automatically the darkness disappears. And this is what also happens. This is what Krishna does. This is the reciprocation that Krishna does. He shows special mercy. What does he do? To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. That is what the Lord does as his steps towards ensuring that we go back to him, go back to Godhead. Yeah, that's what the 4 shlokas are. Very, very important 4 shlokas. So I would recommend all of you, yeah, to make note of these 4 shlokas and every day chant these 4 shlokas. Let's chant this once more. It is so beautiful shlokas. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha macchitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te tesham evanukam partham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavastho jnana deepena bhasvata. Fantastic. So now twice you've recited the entire Bhagavad Gita today. Yeah. So let's see. Let's progress further. What is the next aspect of see? That everywhere you see, you can see Lord Krishna's opulences. So in the 9th chapter ending, Krishna talks about man mana bhava madbhakto. He says, always think of me. Yeah. So now how to think of Krishna? Yeah. Krishna talks about in this particular section of the 10th chapter. Yeah. This section itself is divided into 2 parts. One is the opulences, which is the second part of this section. But in previous, let us see how Arjuna accepts the Lord and how Arjuna accepts Bhagavad Gita. What is his qualities? What does Arjuna see there to understand this particular aspect of who the Lord is? Yeah. So once Arjuna understands this, he talks about who Krishna is. So this is Arjuna's verses now. Arjuna is talking about Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum, Ahustvam Rishayas Sarve, Devarshir Naradas Tatha, Asito Devalo Vyasaha, Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. Arjuna is saying this, that you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa, confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. Yeah. So this is how Arjuna is seeing, yeah, Krishna. How is he seeing? Param Brahma, you are the supreme truth. You are the ultimate abode. The purest, untainted by material contamination. Pavitram. That is how pure the Lord is. Paramam Bhavan, the absolute truth. Nothing beyond Krishna is there. Krishna says in the 7th chapter, Mattaha Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. That just as the thread which is holding all the universes, I am holding all the universes. I am that Param. Yeah. So the Param, that is the absolute truth that he is. Yeah. He is a Purusham. So Arjuna also knows that he is a person, the supreme enjoyer. He is eternal. Divyam, he's transcendental, which means he's not in this material world. He's not belonging to this material world. He's Ajam, he's unborn. Yeah. So that's important quality that Arjuna understands about Krishna. He's Vibhum, he's the greatest. Yeah. And it is not that Arjuna is thinking from his mental speculation, all of this. He has heard it from other important people. Yeah. Who are the other important people? Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa. Yeah. All of these people have told how great Krishna is. Yeah. So for us, how hard is it to understand and declare and difficult to accept this particular aspect? Yeah. And of course, now Krishna himself is telling this particular aspect that Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Yeah, that's what Krishna is. That's what the position of Krishna is. And because he is at that level, yeah, neither the demigods nor the demons nor the sages, they understand Krishna in full. It is Krishna who needs to come in and tell us who Krishna is. And that is what Krishna is going to do subsequently in this particular chapter. So this is what Arjuna's attitude is towards accepting Krishna. The mood of Arjuna is this. Yeah, that this is the mood of Arjuna. This is how he is looking at Krishna. Wow, this is how you are. Oh, this is so great you are. This is what the mood we also have to develop as to how great Krishna is. Yeah, and imagine, even with this greatness, Krishna is ready to become the servant of Arjuna. Yeah, so when he becomes the chariot driver of Arjuna, imagine, yeah, he is ready to become this lowest of the low servant. So in olden days, I don't know if you're aware, that when the war was going on and the chariot driver, if the archer, if he wanted to turn the chariot left or right, he would use his legs. Yeah. So if he wants to turn left, he would kick with his right leg, or he would kick with his left leg. Yeah, to turn it, because he is shooting his arrows, he's saying his mantras, and he wants to turn the chariot in a particular direction. He would use his legs. So imagine Krishna is going to sit in front of the chariot and is ready to accept Arjuna's kicks. Yeah. So imagine, even this great personality, he's ready to become such a low, menial servant of his devotee. Why? Because Arjuna is his devotee and his friend. Yeah. So imagine how powerful Arjuna is now because he's become a devotee. But look at the mood. Just because he's become powerful, Arjuna has not become very puffed up. He is still humble because he understands who Krishna is. Yeah. And that is the mood we have to develop. That how great Krishna is. That is the mood that Arjuna has developed to understand who Krishna is. Yeah. And with that mood, yeah, with this mood of how great, how amazing Krishna is, Arjuna is accepting the Bhagavad Gita. That is the mood of acceptance of Bhagavad Gita. What does he say? Sarvameta dhritam manye. I totally accept the truth that you have told me. Sarvameta dhritam manye. I am ready to accept. I am accepting everything that you have said. Yanmam vadasi Keshava, whatever you have told me, O Keshava. Nahi te bhagavan vyaktim vidur devana danavaha. Yeah, neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. So Arjuna is accepting this entire Bhagavad Gita with that mood. Yeah. So this is how the mood is. We also should develop. And how should we get the mood? From the parampara. Yeah. So this is the mood Arjuna had, and this is how our parampara also understands this particular aspect. And we have to emulate this particular mood of Arjuna. Yeah, only then the essence of the Bhagavad Gita will come to you. Yeah, so we are all spending our 18 days here. So let us ensure this 18 days are not wasted. Yeah, and with this mood, how will you ensure maximize this profit of this 18 days? When you emulate this mood. So we all talk in management about optimization, about maximization of profit. So for 18 days, if you get this mood, you will maximize your profit of these 18 days. So let us understand this aspect. Why? Because the demigods, those who are envious of Krishna, those who think Krishna is a small ordinary person, they do not understand Krishna. So if you are in this mood, you will never understand Krishna. But if you are in the mood of our acharyas, of Arjuna, then it is very, very easy to understand who Krishna is, and therefore also accept what Bhagavad Gita is about. Yeah, and that is what Arjuna is now. He is in full flow now. He's talked about talked to Krishna as how great you are. Now I want to know more about you. Yeah. So in 15 and 16th verses, he says, "You alone know yourself." That is what he says. You alone know yourself by your own internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods. So because you only know yourself, please only tell me what your details are. So that's the interesting part. Yeah. So Arjuna is not referring here now to so many other people. He's saying, now you are there, you are the person, you are the most fantastic person who knows about you. Please tell me about yourself. Yeah. So that is what what Arjuna's mood is. Yeah. He talks about, when he talks about Bhuta Bhavana, he talks about Bhutesha, Deva Deva, Jagatpati. These are the words that Arjuna uses to understand and tell Krishna, please, you tell me more about yourself. I want to hear more. Yeah. And why he wants to hear more? Because he is so much enjoying Krishna's words when Krishna is talking about all of this. Because he has accepted Krishna, that Krishna is the greatest. Yeah. So if you see, of course, Arjuna is also talking on our behalf also. Why? Because then we also will come to know how great Krishna is. Yeah. Yeah. So when we come to know how great Krishna is, we can easily think of Krishna. Yeah. And that is what Arjuna's point also is. Yeah. In the next verse, he says, oh Krishna, how can I constantly think of you? Yeah. How shall I know you? In what forms can I remember you? Yeah. So because you told me, man mana bhava mad bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru, everywhere I should think of me. Now tell me, how can I think of you everywhere? Wherever I go, I should be able to think of you. Yeah. And that is what the advantage of hearing Krishna's opulences from Krishna's mouth is. Yeah. We increase our remembrances and we all think of him also. So there is this fantastic Punjabi name actually. Yeah. It's called Simran. I'm sure you all heard of Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, yeah? Where we have this famous heroine, her name is Simran. Now this Simran name is very, very important. Simran actually is a apabhransh of the original word called Smaran. Yeah. So Smaran is what? To always think of Krishna. And that is what the Simran, when you go to the Guru Darbar or when you talk to Sikhs, this is the word that they talk of, Simran, Simran of the Lord. What is Simran? Yeah, it's Smaran, to always think of Krishna. And to always think of Krishna, Krishna is helping us to think of Krishna. Yeah. How? By giving these various opulences. And that is what Arjuna is kind of telling. I want to hear more. I want to hear more, because I am not satiated by hearing about enough about you. Yeah. And that is what he wants to, because he finds it's very, very much nectar. It's very nectarian. Hearing about Krishna, and he wants to hear it from Krishna's only. That's what he says. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Yeah. So that it's easier for him to do Simran, the Smaran of Lord Krishna. Yeah. So because hearing increases remembrance. That is what the trick is. Why do we chant every day? The chanting is one of the most important process, because it helps you to also remember. Smaranam kirtanam Vishnoho, smaranam pada sevanam. Smaranam is the third step in the devotional process. Yeah. How do we get smaranam? Once you get to know about Krishna, once you get to know how great he is. Yeah. Yeah. So this is why Arjuna wanted to know more about Krishna. Yeah. One, for the sake of common people, for the benefit of all of us. Yeah. He wanted Krishna to talk about Krishna. Yeah. Then for the materialists, many materialists, they are absorbed in only the material things. Once they see the opulence of Krishna and how Krishna is there in all material things, it is easier for the materialist to also get convinced about the Lord. Yeah. For his own personal absorption. Arjuna wanted to know, how can I think of you? How can I do this man mana bhava mad bhakto? Yeah. And he wanted to taste the nectar. He wanted to just keep hearing, oh Krishna, yes, keep talking. You are so nice. Your talks are so nice. That is why he wanted to know more about the Lord. Yeah. And the Lord obliges. Yeah. The Supreme God says, yes, I will tell you about my splendorous manifestations. That is what the Lord says to Arjuna. But only those which are prominent. For my opulence is limitless. So Krishna says his opulences, there are like millions and billions of his opulences. So in the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Krishna says, it is mentioned that how many avatars of Krishna are there. So then the Bhagavatam explains that Krishna, who is the avatari, there are as many avatars as there are waves in the sea. So imagine there are billions of waves in the sea, they keep coming and coming. Like that, Krishna's avatars also keep coming. Krishna's opulences keeps growing and growing and growing. So Krishna puts a condition, said, I'm not going to tell you all of my manifestations, only those prominent ones. For my opulence or Krishna's opulence is limitless. That's what he says. Yeah. So let's see what Krishna's opulences are in Krishna's words. So Krishna says here, that's how he begins. I am the super soul seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning and the middle and the end. Yeah. So Krishna is there as a super soul in everybody's heart. Like I told you. And the yogis, what do? They meditate on this Krishna, on this Paramatma form of the Lord for their meditation and for their liberation. He is the beginning, is the middle, and the end of all beings. He is the creator, the maintainer, and the destroyer. The beginning, middle, and the end. Yeah. Then he says, of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. The various Adityas, he is the Vishnu, the chief of the head. Of the lights, I am the radiant sun. Yeah. So sun is like so bright. Yeah. And of all the various kinds of light, the neon light, the LED light, the this light, the that light, the tube light. He says, I am of all of the various kinds of light, I am the sunlight. I am as radiant as the sun. Of the Maruts, I am Marichi, the controlling deity of the wind. And among the stars, he is the moon. Yeah, that's how he says. Of the demigods, he is Indra, the king of heaven. Yeah. Of the Vedas, I'm the Samaved. Samaved is the most important of the Vedas. So of the 4 Vedas, he is the Samaved. And of the senses, Krishna is the mind. Yeah. So I told you we have 11 senses. The 5 working senses and the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and 1 mind. 5 plus 5 plus 1. That is 11 senses. And of those senses, Krishna is the mind. He says that he is the, and of all living beings, he is the living force, consciousness that is there in all living beings. And we also saw that reverberates well with the Paramatma form, or he's the soul, he's the super soul, and the soul in everybody. Then he talks of all the Rudras, of the various Rudras, he's Lord Shiva. Yeah. And of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, he is Kuvera, the Lord of wealth. And of all the Vasus, he is fire, Agni. Yeah. And of all the mountains, he is Meru, the biggest of the biggest mountains. Then of all the priests, he is Brahaspati. So Indra, who is the king of all planets, a king of all the demigods, he has his chief priest, who is Brahaspati. And Krishna declares that I am that Brahaspati. And of the generals that Indra has, he is Kartikeya. Kartikeya is the foremost of the generals there. Krishna establishes that of the generals, he is Kartikeya. Of the various bodies of water, I am the ocean. That's what he says. Yeah. And of all the sages, yeah, who is he? He is Bhrigu. And of all the vibrations, there are various different vibrations in the world. Of all the vibrations, which is the foremost of the vibration Om, that is there. That is Krishna. Yeah. And of all the sacrifices, Japa, all the sacrifices, he is Japa. Yeah. Of Yajnanam, of all the Yajnas, of all the sacrifices they do, the Japa is the most important. That is what Krishna. And therefore, this is what is recommended for all of us. Why do we all, you will see when you go to an ISKCON temple or you go to, everybody will have a bead bag and they'll all be doing Japa. Why? Because of this particular reason. It says, of all the sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Japa. Of all the immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Yeah. And then of all the perfected beings, he's sage Kapila. So if we get to discuss the Bhagavatam, there is an entire discussion between Kapila Dev and his mother. Fantastic discussions and highly recommended for all of you. And he says that I am that Kapila. That Kapila Dev is therefore an incarnation of Krishna also. And of the Gandharvas, he's Chitraratha, the most handsome and the most beautiful and the most best singer. Yeah, of the Gandharvas, Chitraratha. That is where Krishna's qualities come in. Yeah? Of the sages, he is among the demigods, he is Narada. So there are various sages. The best of the best sages is Narada, and Krishna says, I am that. And of all the banyan trees, yeah, of all the trees, I am the banyan tree. Yeah. Of all the horses, know to be as Uchishrava. And of all the elephants is Airavata. Now, both these beings, they came up when, if you remember the story of the churning of the great ocean, and all of these beautiful animals, best of the best animals came out. They were all, the origin of all of this was Lord Krishna. Yeah. And of all among men, he is the monarch. He is the king. That's what he says. And of all the weapons, he is a thunderbolt. And among the cows, he is Surabhi cow. Of all the causes of procreation, he is Kandarpa, the god of love. And of all the serpents, he is Vasuki. And of all the departed ancestors, he is Aryama. Yeah. And of all demigods, he talks about, he is death. Yeah. And among aquatics, he is Varuna. And of all the many hooded Nagas, he's Ananta. So these are various incarnations, various discussions that are there, that are subject matter of the Bhagavatam. Yeah. On the 17th day, we're going to talk about Bhagavatam, and all of these are subject matters of the Bhagavatam. In detail, you've described about all of these particular aspects. Yeah. How among the Daityas, yeah, of all the demons, he is Prahlad. And among subduers, Krishna is time. He also says in the 11th chapter about this particular aspect. Time I am, the eternal destroyer. So therefore, nothing subdues as time. Time subdues everything, we say. That is what Krishna is. Among the beasts, he is the lion. And among the birds, he is Garuda. Yeah. Of the fishes, he is the shark. And of the rivers, he is the Ganges. Of the wielders of all weapons, he is Rama. Yeah. And of purifiers is the wind. Wind is considered the most purifying thing. Yeah. So he's considered to be as the wind. Yeah. Among the logicians, he's the most conclusive truth. And of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self. Yeah. So science of the self means science of the soul. Yeah. Who is giving that? That is Bhagavad Gita. That is what Krishna is. And that's what he says. Of all creations, I am the beginning, the end, and also the middle. He repeats himself here again. He's the creator, Brahma, he's the maintainer, Vishnu, and he is the destroyer. This is Tandava, you can see here. Lord Shiva doing his Tandav. Yeah, so all of this origins are from Krishna, and we've seen this in that picture that I showed you earlier. The spiritual and the material world, and how Krishna is sitting there in the spiritual world and is expanding himself to do all of these things. Yeah, his time, he says. Yeah. And of the letters, he is the letter A. Yeah. And of the creators, he is Brahma. So various things that he is there. And of the different generating principles, he is the one that is yet to be. Yeah. So he knows what is going to come in. Yeah. And he's all devouring death. Yeah. So that's what he says, that people who do not know me now, they will know me at the time of death. That is what Krishna says. He's all devouring death. And among women, I'm fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. So that's what he says. He gives all of these particular qualities about himself. Yeah. And of the Samaveda. So within the Vedas, he is the Samaved. And within the Samaveda, he is the Brahat Sama, the best of hymns within the Samaved. Of different kind of poetries, he is Gayatri. Yeah. And among different months, he is Margashirsha. It's now going to come now, this Margashirs month. And of various flower-bearing seasons, he is Ruturaj Vasant. We say Ruturaj Vasant, right? That is Krishna, because he's at that point of time creating. Yeah. He's also the gambling of the cheats. So nobody can cheat Krishna. Many people think that, oh, I can, let me see, he's such a small boy, let me cheat him. Lord Brahma also thought that he's such a small boy, what can he do? And he wanted to take away all his friends and all his, and Krishna showed him who really is. And also to many of these other people, he is of the cheats, he is the best of the cheat. Of the splendid, he is the splendor. He is victory, he is the strength of the strong. And he is adventure. That's what he says. Yeah. And among the great thinkers, he says, I am Ushana. Yeah. And of the sages, I am Vyasa. Yeah. So interestingly, if you see this picture, you all know the story. Yeah, that Vyasadeva wanted a scribe when he was writing down all of the Mahabharata. So because it's such a long test, nobody was ready. So Ganesha says, finally, okay, I'll volunteer. But Ganesha says that I have a condition. Yeah. And the condition is that you should not stop speaking. And if you stop speaking, then I will wind up and go away. Now, Vyasa, he then becomes, oh my God, such a long verse. If I want to take a break, what will I do? So he puts a counter condition. He says, okay, I will not stop speaking, but you have to understand and accept what you write, and only then I will speak ahead. You should not write what you don't accept. Yeah. And Ganesha says, yes, fine. And that is how Vyasa used to take breaks. He would put in one really complicated verse, and Ganpati would keep thinking while he was writing, and only when he would accept it, he would take his break and come back. Yeah. And so Ganesha, whatever Ganesha has written, yeah, he has understood and he has accepted this. So if you see the Mahabharata, this Bhagavad Gita comes inside the Mahabharata. So whatever is written in the Gita has been accepted by Lord Ganesha. So Lord Ganesha himself, being a demigod, he is considered a devata. He has accepted what he is. He's accepted Krishna is Mattaha Sarvam. He is the supreme. Yeah, he is the best. That is what he is. That is what Ganesha has also accepted. Yeah. Then Krishna continues that of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. That's what he says. And of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudeva. That's what he says. Of the different qualities that he has. Of secret things, he is silence. Of the wise, he is the wisdom. Of those who seek victory, he is morality. And among all means of suppressing lawlessness, he is punishment. Yeah. And then Krishna says that nothing can exist without him. That is how he is. He is the generating seed of all existences. Wherever you see any kind of creation, any kind of thing, you should see Krishna's hand there. That is what the beauty about this particular 10th chapter is. It tells you to how to see Krishna everywhere. Yeah. As soon as you see some very fantastic presentation, everything, you should know, oh, this is Krishna. This is the ability that is there. And this is the entire, we've tried to put it in one page, all of these unlimited opulences. Yeah. Of all the limited opulences that Krishna has talked about in this particular one page. Yeah. So he talks about how within the demigods he is the best, of the sages he is the best, of the various qualities of law and crime, about animals, about humans and kings, about philosophy and truths, about Vedic mantras. He talks about the Gayatri, he talks about Samaveda, he talks about Om, yeah, all of these things. So Krishna's opulences are unlimited, yeah. But he gives a list so that at least we can, wherever we see each of these things, we should be able to think of Krishna. Man manabhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Whenever you see this opulence, should in your mind mentally bow down to Krishna. Madhyaji mam namaskuru. Krishna says, bow down to me. Yeah. So this is what we see. Whenever you see this, yeah. And I keep talking. Why is this important? Because this is how we are. For us, it is very, very important to understand this particular aspect, that whenever we see something, we always associate it with some event. Yeah. So we probably, and I probably, we see this in Hindi movies probably. Yeah. We see this hero who's totally in love with heroine. He sees his handkerchief. And as soon as he sees the handkerchief, he remembers her and he breaks into a song. And we see this song going between trees and all of that, whatever. Yeah. But what has triggered this particular thought about this particular person that he loves is that handkerchief. Yeah. So same thing, we should also, whenever we see all of these qualities, wherever, just like this hero thinks about his heroine, whenever we see these qualities, we should think of Krishna. Yeah. So that is what this particular aspect here is, as to why Krishna is talking about his qualities. Yeah. And then Krishna, he kind of establishes that there is no end, basically. Yeah. Oh, mighty conqueror of enemies, he tells Arjuna. Yeah. There is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is a mere indication of my infinite opulences. That's what he says. And so Krishna's opulences are there, many, he's expanding right now, as he sees expanding into many, many universes. He's creating so many different opulences. Yeah. And Krishna establishes that all of these creations, they are nothing but a spark of my splendor. Just this Krishna spark has created all of these things. So imagine how great Krishna must be if just this spark is this great. So that is what is the understanding and the conclusion of the 10th chapter here. Yeah, Krishna talks about who he really is. Yeah, and he says, but what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Krishna therefore establishes how he is supreme. Yeah, and in the previous verses we discussed about devatas, about whether we should worship Krishna, whether we should worship other devatas. Krishna here clearly establishes, yeah, and even the devata Ganesha has accepted this particular aspect, yeah, of how worshipping Krishna is the ultimate, yeah. And we've seen various examples. Yesterday a fantastic example was given, yeah, that if somebody wants to nourish a plant, yeah, give water to the plant, he doesn't give water to the leaves and to the branches and to the sub branches. Where does the water go? The water goes to the root, yeah. So same thing, Krishna is the root, yeah. As soon as we pray to Krishna, it means we're praying to all of the other demigods, yeah. Krishna, all the demigods have become extremely happy when jiva, when we start thinking about the Lord, yeah. That's what is the 10th chapter about, yeah. With that I conclude, and maybe we can take some questions. So I will please invite Hari Gopal Prabhuji. I hope you're there.
Hare Krishna, Mohan Prabhu. Yes,
Hare
I'm
Krishna.
here. Thank you for such a wonderful session, taking care of the opulences of Krishna, so wonderfully explaining all of them in these verses. So there are some very interesting questions that have come. Is it okay? Can I get started to
yeah, please get started. I haven't even seen the chat box, so
what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some rapid fire questions for you, about 5 questions and interesting ones. First one from Pallavi Kaushik ji. Prabhuji, all human beings belong to different religion. They believe in different gods. So in Christianity, Sikhism, Islam religion, do they indirectly refer to Krishna? Like, for example, Guru Nanak, Jesus Christ, were they the representatives of Krishna as demigods, or they actually existed as God individually? That's the question number 1.
Yeah. So in the 4th chapter, Srila Prabhupada clears this particular aspect. He talks about various expansions of Krishna, and all of these people that you mentioned, they are also expansions of the Lord. Yeah. So Krishna is a name that we have seen. From a Vedic perspective, we see Krishna, but Krishna has many names. Why only few names? Yeah. So Jevoha, all of these are different forms of Krishna, different names to Krishna, and Krishna himself expands into various aspects. Yeah, and they are all expansions of Krishna. What is the word? There is a term called, what is the term? The expansion of Krishna. When you give the power, I forgot.
Shakti Avesh?
Shakti Avesh avatar. Fantastic. Thank you, Hari Gopal Prabhu. Yeah, so these are Shakti Avesh avatars. Yeah, so they are empowered incarnations. Yeah, they are spirit, their souls, but they are empowered by the Lord. There is an empowerment which is given to them. Yeah, to all of these particular people. Yeah, that is what the understanding is from a Sanatan Vedic perspective. So you want to add anything, Hari Gopal Prabhu?
No, I think that was good, Prabhu. Let's move on to the next question. There are a flurry of questions coming in here. Pooja Chadaji. According to psychology, if we keep on thinking about something, we either get deluded or can have illusions. How do we know that if we can see Krishna, it is Krishna and not the hallucinations?
Okay. So seeing Krishna is a very great thing. Yeah. So if you can see Krishna, you are already, you shouldn't be even answering these questions actually. Yeah. We shouldn't be answering these questions also, because we should be asking these questions to you rather. Yeah. So of course, yes, like you rightly pointed out, it probably could be hallucinations, but even if you hallucinate about Krishna, it's not a problem. It is very good. Yeah. Because you are still connected to Krishna. That is what the beauty is. So like we discussed the other day, Putana wanted to kill Krishna. In some way, she wanted to kill Krishna. But even that killing of Krishna, that thought process that she had was good enough for her liberation. So even if you hallucinate about Krishna, it's not a problem at all. Yeah. So whether it's hallucination or whether it's a real thing, it then becomes irrelevant because you're seeing Krishna there. That is what is my understanding there.
Thank you, Mohan Prabhu. One more, text 26 purport. Another Kapila is mentioned apart from the son of Devahuti. Who is this another Kapila?
Yeah, so there are two Kapilas. Yeah, so one Kapila is one who wrote the atheistic Sankhya philosophy. Yeah, so and then there is this Kapil Dev, who is there mentioned in the Bhagavatam, and there is a discussion between Kapil Dev and Devahuti in I think it's the 4th canto, if I am not mistaken, 4th or the 7th. Sorry, I miss out. Yeah, so that is the other Kapila, the one who wrote the atheistic Sankhya philosophy. Yeah, that's the answer to that question.
There are temples of Shiva and Narayana together as one form. So is Lord Shiva and Krishna equal?
So actually, Lord Shiva is a very, very complicated topic. Yeah, we need a bit more understanding. Yeah, so if you see, even when I showed the chart, the creation chart, you can see Lord Shiva. He's also beyond the Brahma Jyoti and is there in the spiritual world. Yeah. So Nara and Narayana, there is a quite complex understanding which will require much more detailed discussion. Yeah, maybe we can discuss that in some other forum.
Sanjeev Kumarji is interested in the avatars of the Lord. So he has 2 questions. In Treta and Dwapar Yuga, why he was having avatar of Lord Rama and Krishna when there was less amount of sins than Kali Yuga? And as a continuation, is there any possibility that Lord will take avatar in Kali Yuga?
So maybe you can take that question, Prabhu. I will take some rest.
Yeah. So in Treta and Dwapar Yuga, why he was having avatar of Lord Rama and Krishna when there was less amount of sins than Kali Yuga? And the next question is there any possibility that Lord will take avatar in Kali Yuga? So the answer is, so if you see in Treta and Dwapar Yuga, yes, indeed, the amount of sins committed were very less. If you see in the Satya Yuga, there was Ekavarna. It was called as Hamsa Varna. There were only one Varna because everybody was in Sattva Guna. And then slowly there were other gunas, prominence of the Rajoguna came. And then slowly in the Treta Yuga, there's a little bit of a creep of Tamoguna. And then in Kali Yuga, we have the prominence of only Tamoguna and everything else is kind of subsided, right? So there was no necessity for the Lord to, one may think. But the purpose of the Lord coming down is not only to kill the demons or kill the sinful activities. Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Amongst these 3 aspects of why he comes down, one is Paritranaya sadhunam, second is vinashaya cha dushkrutam, and then dharma samstapana. These 3 activities. The most important activity that the Lord is very interested in is the Paritranaya sadhunam. That is his relationship with his devotees, right? The enjoyable relationship and the leelas that he has with his devotees is what he's interested in more. So the Lord enjoys more of it, that you can see how Lord Rama is enjoying his relationship with wonderfully his devotees. Of course, there were also some demons that he had to, one of the mightiest one being Ravana, and so on and so forth. And is there any possibility that Lord will take avatar in Kali Yuga? Indeed, the Lord has already taken birth in Kali Yuga. He says in this specifically the Kali Yuga that is following the 27th cycle. In the 28th cycle after Krishna takes his avatar in Dwapar Yuga, he will take an incarnation which will be golden in color, and that is the avatar of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came as an avatar but in the mood of a devotee. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advented himself about 520 plus years before in the place called the Gauda Desha, and that is where our sampradaya comes from, called as the Gaudiya Sampradaya. We call ourselves the Gaudiya, Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, or Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and that is where it comes from. So as Mohan Prabhu also mentioned, the avatars are countless, as there are, the number of waves in the ocean, as many of avatars are there. So the Lord is constantly adventing, and he says, Sambhavami yuge yuge. So that is the answer for that. Is there a soul in mountains also? Are they also living entities that we cannot experience? Are there any living entities in other universes that we cannot experience? How do we get to know? Mohan Prabhu, you want to take that question?
Yeah, so Krishna describes when he says that I am of the Sthavara, I am of the immovable, I am the Himalayas. So yes, we can understand that there is soul in the mountains also. Yeah, and like Srila Prabhuji was mentioning yesterday, the mountains also have increased by 3 inches over the last 100 years or whatever. So they're also increasing, they're also decreasing. So there is growth there also. Yeah, so there is definitely soul in the mountains, is what I think it was a reference to yesterday's discussion with Srila Prabhuji. Yeah.
Yes.
Are there living entities in other universes? Yes, there are definitely living entities in other universes. We do not know them as yet. For simple example, I will give you. Can we live in water? If we cannot live in water, we need to have watery body to live in water, right? Yeah. And recently I was reading some paper where they have found some bacteria which can live in fire. Yeah. And they have fiery bodies. So like that, if there are different kind of places where there are different kind of environments, there are different kinds of bodies made available for them. So definitely soul is everywhere. Krishna talks about in the second chapter that souls are sarvagata. Sarvagata means they are present everywhere. Everywhere also means in all other planets, everywhere. So there is no, only thing is we don't know how to talk to them, or we don't know how to get in contact with them right now. So we don't know that yet. Yeah, there are definitely, as per the Vedic understanding, yeah, souls are there everywhere.
Sombatla Achyuta ji has a question. In Avatar, Krishna is the name. What is the original name of Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Maybe you can take that, Prabhuji.
Sure. So in Avatar, Krishna is the name. So we see that in this particular Avatar as the, the one that he has taken when he has this conversation with Arjuna, we have his name as Krishna. What is the original name of Krishna is being clarified by Brahma himself, who's being created by Krishna, right? What does he say? He says, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. He says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvaraha Paramaha. Ishvara means supreme. Paramaha means supreme, right? And what is his name? His name is Krishna. So he clarifies that his name is Krishna. And when he also comes here, we call him Krishna. Why? That also Brahmaji clarifies. He says, Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam. That is, the Lord Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he expands into various avatars. Some of these avatars are called as Amsas, some are called as Kala, and then some are called as Shakti Avesh avatars. All of these we are going to see when we are going to be describing the the Srimad Bhagavatam overview at the end of the session, right? But when Krishna comes, he does not take an avatar. He is an avatari. He comes directly. He does not, send somebody. He comes directly. So he retains his name as Krishna. So yes, when he takes his advent, he is called Krishna, and originally also his name is Krishna.
So this is an interesting question. Generally, mantra starts with Om. This is from Sombatla Achyuta Prabhuji. Generally, mantra starts with Om and ends with Swaha. What about Maha Mantra? Please clarify. Yeah. So all of these mantras that you talk about, which starts with Om, actually they are very specific mantras which a guru needs to give you. Now, guru is like a spiritual doctor. So for example, if we have some problem in our body, we go to this doctor, the dispensary, and the doctor assesses your body. Yeah, he does all of this, whatever, and he then gives you a specific medicine. Yeah, that specific medicine. Oh, you have this kidney problem. You take this particular medicine, and you have to take it with this particular days, these particular aspects, and these particular other pathya you have to follow. Then you will get cured. Yeah. So same logic is there for all other mantras. The mantra needs to be given by a guru. The guru who understands how your body is, what your constitutional position, what your positions, what modes are acting on you. And based on that, he gives a specific mantra. Yeah. And these mantras are the ones which start with Om and with Saha. So many times people talk about chanting this Gayatri mantra and all of these mantras. Actually, unless it is given by our guru, you should not chant the mantra. It could have a reverse effect on you. Yeah. What these mantras basically do is basically they enhance the modes of nature in you. Yeah. So for example, if you take wrong medicine, it adversely affects your body, right? Same thing happens with the mantra also. If you take some mantra and read from somewhere, you do internet research and take some mantra and start chanting the mantra, it might have an adverse effect on you. It has to be given by your guru in a confidential, specific manner. Only then that particular mantra has power. Yeah, this Om and Swaha mantras. But the Maha Mantra is a very fantastic mantra. This Maha Mantra is like Chavanprash. Yeah, everybody can take Chavanprash, right? Even if you are sick, you are unwell, you can take Chavanprash. Yeah, so that is how the Maha Mantra acts. It generally nourishes you, makes you stronger. it takes you towards a guru who can then analyze specifically what your problem is and give you a specific mantra for your problem. Yeah. So that is how the Maha Mantra acts. It acts like a direction giver to take you to the right person at that point of time. So that's how the Maha Mantra is. And in fact, if you see the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, has this important three words, Hara, Rama, and Krishna. Yeah. And if you see, we discussed yesterday that how the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu is equivalent to one name of Lord Rama, and 3 names of Lord Rama is equivalent to one name of Lord Krishna. Yeah. So when you chant the Maha Mantra, it includes the Vishnu Sahasranam, it includes Krishna's names, it includes Vishnu's names and everything. Yeah. So all of these, this mantra incorporates everything. So therefore, it is a very, very specific, special mantra, and that's why it's called a Maha Mantra. It is applicable for everybody. There are no rules and regulations to chant them. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he talked about chanting this mantra, he says there are no rules and regulations to chant this mantra. You can chant it anywhere. You go to the bathroom, you can chant in the bathroom also, no issues at all. Yeah. So that is how this particular Maha Mantra is, and that's how it is different from the other mantras. Yeah.
Thank you, Mohan Prabhu. And Krishna Niranjanji, I think you added a point to my answer. Chaitanya came in Kali Yuga and Kalki will come in the end of Kali Yuga. I think he added. Thank you for that. Yes, indeed, Kalki Bhagwan is an avatar that will be at the end of when the Kali Yuga is going through the path of destruction. At the end, the Lord would come and advent himself as Kalki Bhagwan. Of course, the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a very special advent, which only happens after the 27th cycle of the Manvantras, which is very, very special. So thank you for adding in that. And one more question I saw. If everything is God's manifestation, why were we created? What was the purpose? Mohan Prabhu, you want to take that?
Okay. So if you see, one of the qualities of Krishna mentioned by Krishna himself is that he is a person. Yeah. Now, when Krishna is there as a person, he felt he generally can't be lonely, right? He needs people around them. A person, how do we enjoy? When we want to enjoy, we call a party, we go to a party, or we call friends, we call our relatives, and that is how we enjoy, right? So all of the relatives, when we go to a party, we kind of enjoy there because we are persons. We need social connects. Yeah. So even the Lord, when he was there in the spiritual world, he expanded himself so that he could enjoy. He's a person also. That is one of the biggest reasons why he created us. He created us so that we could serve him through becoming his enjoyments. Yeah. So that he could enjoy us. But unfortunately, what we've done, we've run away from there. We said, no, why should the Lord only enjoy? I also want to enjoy. Yeah. So as soon as the I has come, this material world has got created. And we've got transferred here in this material world. Yeah. So therefore, we are now trying to bring back that original consciousness of how we were there in the spiritual world. A fish out of water can never be happy. We are all spiritual beings. We can only be happy in the spiritual world. Here you can try as much as possible. Even the richest man, I was reading sometime the other day that the second richest man or something, he committed suicide. Now imagine if he is so much rich, and if he is so much, what problem he could have had to commit suicide, isn't it? So even riches, all the riches that you are here in the material world will not make us happy. What will make us happy is when we go back to our original constitutional position, which is in the spiritual world. So when the fish goes to water, it is very happy. Same like us, we will be very happy when we go back to the spiritual world to serve Krishna. Now we've come back from there, we've run away from there, and we are here trying to find happiness. Unfortunately, we're not able to find happiness here. So that is the original reason why Krishna has originally created us, to serve him and so that he could enjoy us.
Thank you, Prabhu. One other question, Sunil Sharma ji. Why does Krishna not emphasize much about the chanting of holy name in Bhagavad Gita? Well, he does make a presentation there. Sorry, Mohan Prabhu, you want to go ahead with that?
No, I was saying he does because today's session we saw of all the yagyas. Yeah, he is he's the Japa Yagya.
Yes, he says Yagyanam Japa Yagyoshmi, that amongst all the yagyas, the greatest of the yagya is the Japa Yagya. And when he refers to Japa, we talk about, when we hold a mala, And when we do a chanting, that is, when we utter the names of Krishna or any of the names of the Lord, then that is called japa. So typically what, if you can see, generally we carry a japamala and we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Like that, that whatever I said now, which contains the 16 syllables, is called the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is one mantra. Like that, one chants 108 times, then it's called one mala. And then if somebody chants 16 times, usually what we all do is we chant 16 times into 108 every single day. So this is something that we take up as japa. So Krishna, yes, he does mention about saying Yajnanam Japa Yogyoshmi. So that is mentioned there.
Correct. And just to add to that, if you see in the 4th chapter also, he mentions that we have to do sacrifices. And then in the 10th chapter, he says, what is the best sacrifice? Yeah. So when we have to do sacrifices every day, and he says, this is the best sacrifice, for us, it is a direct instruction that we have to do japa, basically.
I think Jayaji had a question. I'm not sure. I'm trying to skim through the questions. There are quite a deluge of questions here. And okay, I think
there is one from Deepika Praveen Jha, which says, if Kali Avatar was Gauranga, then why we say Kali Avatar is yet to take happen? So basically, you are saying why Kali Avatar. So basically, the understanding is that when Krishna left this planet, Kali Yuga started, and 500 years ago, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he advented, and he advented to help us in the Kali Yuga, basically. Yeah. So Kali Yuga has already started. 5,000 odd years have already passed, and of those 5,000 years that have passed, 500 years ago, Gauranga Mahaprabhu has come in, and he's there, here to help us with the Kali Yuga. Yeah. So that next 10,000 years is considered to be the golden era of the Kali Yuga, and after that, a lot of degradation is going to happen. That is what is it. There are another 4,27,000 years of the Kali Yuga remaining. If you remember the discussion, there are 4,32,000 years in Kali Yuga, and of that, only 5,000 years are over. So another 4,27,000 years are remaining as of now. Yeah, so that's the understanding.
Sure. Jayaji, I think I found your question, if this is yours. Prabhuji, you said truthfulness, but Prabhuji, in this Gaur Kali Yuga, who speaks the unadulterated truth? Specifically in India. Why only in India? Everywhere. Nobody can, that is the nature of the Kali Yuga. If one speaks the truth, then he or she gets in deep danger. Regardless whether you are in India, wherever you are, if you, you get in danger. But that is the nature of the Kali Yuga, right? That is what, what has been mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, right in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is a treatise that had been written just at the cusp of the shift between the Dwapar Yuga and the Kali Yuga. And the nature of the Kali Yuga is being described there. What is being described there is says Prayen alpayushah sabya kalau ashmin yugejana mandaha sumanda matayaha manda bhagyahi upadrata. And there the word Kali Yuga is being translated as an age of quarrel. So in the age of quarrel, where is the question of truthfulness, right? People will try to manipulate truth into so when you talk about truth, there is nothing called unadulterated. You can't adulterate truth. Truth means truth. It is satyam param. You have to establish it as it is, right? You can't sugarcoat the truth. But sometimes you say it in a way that it is not hurting to somebody. That is okay. But you cannot get away from the truth and say something else. Then it doesn't become truth. So that's the point. So however, in Kali Yuga, if people are 90% of them are speaking adulterated truth, but we can at least 10% not speak that, right? We can at least be, speaking the truth. So we have to continue to do that. And that is how we differentiate ourselves from everybody else in Kali Yuga, right? And that is what is important, as human beings, that, we follow Dharma. And it says, Dharmena hinaha pashubhihi shamanaha. So it's a question of whether we want to follow Dharma or not. If we want to follow Dharma, then we speak the truth. If we don't want to, then it's up to us.
Okay, one more fantastic question. Yeah, there's one fantastic question, Harigopal Prabhuji. I think we should address that. From Vandana Mataji, she says, Shloka 10.8, when we chant this shloka, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, shouldn't we glorify Supreme? Instead of saying Aham, we should say Tvam Krishna by replacing Aham with Tvam. When I say this shloka, I feel I'm addressing and glorifying myself. Actually, fantastic, very, very nice consciousness you have, Mataji. But the understanding is that the supreme truth, whatever is written in the Bhagavad Gita, is unadulterated. We should not be changing any of it. Yeah. So there is a very nice story with I don't know who that Muni yesterday Prabhu was talking of, where somebody striked the word strike the word from the Bhagavad Gita, and Arjunacharya, when he comes in and he strikes the word from the Bhagavad Gita and he replaces it with something else. It was the Yogakshemam Mahamyam Shloka, where he is thinking that why should Krishna serve me? Why should he carry me? I don't want that. So he, in that particular consciousness, strikes that particular verse saying that this is wrong. Krishna, I don't want Krishna to serve me. I want to serve Krishna. Yeah. So he strikes that word, and immediately Krishna and Balram appear in his house and we heard that story yesterday, and how Arjunacharya really comes to know I should not be making any changes to the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Yeah. And therefore, when we chant this particular shloka, of course, we know that aham here is referring to Krishna. You can know that particular aspect. But you have a fantastic consciousness, Mataji. Hats off to you.
Thank you, Mohan Prabhu. Why is, I can't read the full name though. I'm sure you will know your question. Why is Hare Rama added to Hare Krishna? Why not any other avatar, or why not only Hare Krishna? Is Krishna, if Krishna is supreme? That's a question. Good question again. The word Hare Rama, the mantra as we read, it says Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Here you have the word Hare, you have the word Krishna, and you have the word Rama, right? These are the three key syllables that we use across, right? The word Hare is a transformation of the word Hara. Hara refers to the Shakti of the Lord, the internal potency of the Lord, which is represented by Srimati Radharani, right? Krishna is the original personality. The Lord expands into three energies. One is the internal energy, the other one is the external energy, and the other one is the marginal energy. The internal energy is primarily represented by Srimati Radharani, and that is, her name is Hara. And in the vocative, when we when we call her out, instead of calling Hara, we say Hare, like say Hare, Hare, like that we say in Hindi, right? Like that. So in the vocative, it becomes Hare. So it is Hare, which refers to Radharani, which means like Radhe Krishna, it becomes Hare Krishna. So you got for Hare and Krishna. Now, why the word Rama? The word Rama does not refer to Lord Ramachandra. It actually refers to Krishna himself, right? We have the name of Krishna, which is Radha Ramana. Ramana or Rama means Ramaiti Ramaha, means the one who gives pleasure. So Krishna is the one who is the giver of all pleasure, right? So his name is also Rama. If you go to Sri Vrindavan Dham, you can see there is the Radha Raman temple, the most beautiful Radha Raman ji, right? So he is actually Krishna. He is not Lord Rama. So that way we understand that the word Rama is actually referring to one other name of Krishna himself. But of course, if it refers to, even if you want to think about Rama, there's nothing wrong about it, right? But here in this mantra, it refers to actually Krishna himself.
Yeah. I think we'll take one last question, which is from Arav. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Listening to any lecture or using the phone for spiritual purpose, we do japa. Is there namaparad? So I think the way I understand this question is that you're doing japa and you're also listening to a lecture. Yeah, actually, fact of the matter, to be really brutal, is yes, it is namaparad. Because you're not even paying attention to the lecture, nor are you paying attention to the naam itself. Yeah. So, but then of course it still gives beneficial to you. But that doesn't mean you should keep doing it. It is better if you either listen to the lecture or you just do the chanting of the holy names. Yeah, that is what my understanding is. In fact, there's a very interesting video. If you just search video on YouTube on how not to do japa, it's a very hilarious video, and it will. So if you just search for that one and look at that particular video, I think your doubt will be clear.
I think with that, we will, there might have been a few questions that we might have missed, but just being conscious about the time, and there are a few announcements that our administrators would like to make. We'll stop here with the questions, and I'm going to hand it over back to our Jai Govindji and Chiranjeev. If they would have some announcement to add, like for example, there are some quizzes that have been sent out to you, and a few other additions in terms of administrative things that they wanted to mention. So is that okay, Mohan Prabhu?
Yes, yes. I think that's
Yes.
it. Let's. We're already out
Thank
of
you.
time. I think people are already late here. So
Thank you.
so
Thank you so
let's
much.
get this finished.
So switching this over to Jai Govindji. Prabhu, do you want to take over? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mohan Prabhu, and thank you, Hari Gopal. Wonderful session. And thank you for posing wonderful questions. And the questions which are not answered, please, we will be compiling the answers and will be posted in our website. Please look for it. And Sham, I would like to make you some announcements regarding quiz as well as our question and answer sessions. Over to you, Sham.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining in for today's session, and we are very, very happy that we had again very good numbers today and amazing questions as always. Just a couple of very critical announcements. Number one being is next week we have set aside, if you look at our agenda, next week on Thursday, on the 23rd, we will be having a final Bhagavad Gita quiz where we would request everyone to be able to join on Kahoot, where we will be conducting a quiz with all the attendees of the course. And as announced in the beginning of the course, we are very happy to announce that we'll also be giving some certificates for completion of this course. But there's just one small item. It's for those who are attending this particular Kahoot quiz are the ones who will be getting the certificates for this particular course and attending the course. So if maybe you have joined today, you can please go back and catch up on the missed classes to make sure you're covering up on all the material. Don't worry, you don't have to worry too much about the marks you get in the quiz, everything. The idea is for you to be able to attend the quiz, to be able to test yourself, but also for you to be able to gauge what you know from the Bhagavad Gita and what you don't know, and try to remember the aspects that you don't know and get in touch with us. So that is announcement number one, which talks about the overall Bhagavad Gita quiz. To help you also, we'll make sure that we have a complete summary. The complete summary will cover almost all the chapters and the main takeaways and learnings from this chapter, which will probably help to refresh some of those thoughts and memories. We so much appreciate those who have taken wonderful notes. We can see some people who are typing and who are making notes. This means you've taken the course also very seriously. So we appreciate that so much. So you are also welcome to refer to your notes when you're attending this quiz. Saying that, we also have these notes that we've compiled for everyone. So in order for you to be able to prepare for this quiz, you can also go on the website, download the handbook, and there from that handbook you should have some summary notes of the chapters, summary notes of the course, and some chapter overviews which might also help you with your understanding. But the most important thing, I think, is to be able to actually go back and read the Bhagavad Gita, which is the main takeaway from this course. I just got a chat message here, which I thought I'll just take immediately. How do I view the prior sessions? What is the website? What I will do is, for your convenience, I'll just put the website right here. It's called bit.do/essence of Gita. And once you log in there, you'll be able to find all the details you need in participant material and also a link to the YouTube. Where can we find the presentations used in everyday sessions? So we are finding the most efficient way to release these presentations to you, and we will be updating you about that very, very shortly. I'm sure we've got a lot of appreciation for these presentations, so we'll definitely find a way to get that across to everyone. The second thing I want to cover is everyone's questions who has been posted on the chat. We've actually compiled 3 days worth of these questions now. So what we are doing is we'll make sure that it's updated immediately after this, is you will be able to log into the website, and under participant questions, the first section you'll be able to find day by day answers to the chat messages that we got. We got an expert team of people, including Jaganji here, who's on the call, who are compiling some of the answers to these questions. And so every single chat message that we've got that by some reason we are not able to answer on the call, we'll be able to find an answer on these documents. So it's a very simple PDF. You can go onto this particular page and find. So if you've posted a chat message that we were not able to answer you at that point, I'm sure you'll be able to find it on these particular documents. As of now, we've covered till chapter 3, and we'll keep building on this and make sure by the time we reach the end of the course, we've covered almost everyone's questions. The whole point of this course.
Chiranjeev Sham Prabhu, you can just quickly open the document and show a sample. They will get to know.
Sure.
Only 1 or 2 samples, and then we can move on.
Absolutely, that's a great idea. So here is the sample of how these documents look. I hope everyone is able to see my screen.
Yeah.
And so you'll be able to see here, for example, we have a question that's asked over here and a list of answers directly from the Bhagavad Gita to be able to address these questions. And so if you scroll down through these documents, you'll see that this is for chapter 3 of the Essence of Bhagavad Gita course. And so you'll be able to find for each chat question how the answers are so well compiled, not only from the Bhagavad Gita directly, but also from some conversations, commentaries of Srila Prabhupada, who is the writer of Bhagavad Gita as it is as well. So this is a preview. Jaganji, would you like to add something to this? Would you like to mention something else?
No. Thanks, Prabhu. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And so I'll also show you exactly where in the website we'll be putting this on. So this will actually come under the participants material of the website. So if you go to participant questions and blog, under this section, the first item you'll view here will be these 3 documents for chapter 1 to 3, and then we'll keep updating as we prepare the next documents. So you should be able to find everything here. Now that brings me to the third and the final announcement before everyone leaves, is we also have these wonderful Kahoot quiz that are put together for you to be able to revise the chapter material. These are self-assessed, self-timed, so you can do it at your own time. You don't have to do it along with us. You can take your time, go back, and try these assessments. It should be very quick questions, very interesting, and it's to help to just spur your thought. You don't have to worry too much about how much you score in these assessments and in these Kahoot quizzes. So you just have an attempt, have a go at it, and then you'll also be able to see the right answers in the end. So it's very good to just revise some of this material to be able to bring it to the top of your head. So the Kahoot quizzes will also be posted. It's already posted on chat over here. Again, we'll circulate it on our WhatsApp groups, our Telegram groups, and make sure to add it to the next email chain. So please do follow us on either of these social channels, either on WhatsApp, on Telegram, or make sure you're checking your emails, because all these wonderful content are put out there. And the most important resource also that we have is this particular landing page where we are constantly updating all the material we are putting on. So that's it from my side. Good night. Thank you for attending, and we're really looking forward to getting in touch with some of you and discussing further about the Bhagavad Gita. And more than anything, we are waiting to hear your questions so we can discuss and try to answer some of these questions. Thank you so much. Take care and good night. Over to you, Jai Govindji.
Yeah, thank you, Chiranjeevi. That was wonderful presentation you made, and yeah. So tomorrow we all look forward you at same time, 7:30 p.m. Again, tomorrow is an wonderful chapter again, which is known as Universal Form. Most of you are very much fascinated with by listening to this chapter, which is Universal chapter. So we look forward to see you all with your friends and relatives. Till then, stay safe. Good night. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.